Hi there. You're here because you need to stay informed efficiently about the really critical issues.
And today we have a very serious one.
Indeed. We're doing a deep dive into that recent terrorist attack in Bizaran Valley, Pahalgam. That's in Jammu and Kashmir.
A truly tragic event. We're talking about 28 people killed, mostly tourists, which is just awful.
And sources, like the Indian Express, which we're drawing on heavily today, they're calling it the deadliest attack on civilians there since the abrogation of Article 370 back in 2019.
That's a significant marker. It tells you something about the scale of this.
Absolutely. So our mission really is to get beyond just the headlines. We need to unpack what happened, the context, and crucially, what it signifies.
Especially regarding India's internal security, but also the external angles.
Exactly. And this is vital stuff if you're tracking current events, particularly for UPSC aspirants. This hits right at the core of internal security topics.
Definitely. So let's start with the attack itself, the location. Bizaran Valley near Pahalgam in Anantnag district.
And the victims, as you said, mostly tourists. That fact alone is chilling.
It is. And the reporting highlights something else, the difficulty of the location.
Ah, yes, the accessibility.
Right. It's remote, high altitudes. You can only get there on foot or maybe horseback.
Which means rescue efforts were, severely hampered from the start.
Terribly difficult, yes. Now, responsibility was claimed by a group called the Resistance Front, or TRF.
TRF. And the Indian Express report identifies them as essentially an ISI-backed proxy of Lashkar-e-Taiba.
That's correct. It positions TRF as a front, allowing Leti some deniability, while likely getting support, maybe direction, from Pakistan's ISI.
So that external dimension is right there from the beginning.
Absolutely.
Okay, maybe let's paint a picture of the area from them. Yeah. Pahalgam itself, it's a popular hill station, right? In that Nag district.
Very popular. About, 90 kilometers from Srinagar Airport, known famously as the Valley of Shepherds.
Sounds idyllic.
It generally is. You've got major attractions drawing people in. The Amarnath Cave Temple pilgrimage starts nearby. There's the Aru Wildlife Sanctuary.
Home to brown bears, musk deer, things like that.
Exactly. And Beta Ab Valley, Tulian Lake, that's a high-altitude lake, very popular with trekkers.
And Bizaran Valley, this specific attack site, is close to Pahalgam town, like 5 kilometers.
Just about, yes. And it's a big draw in its own right. Tourists, trekkers.
And the key point again, no motor vehicles.
Crucial detail, that one. It explains so much about the post-attack challenges.
They call it mini Switzerland, don't they?
They do. The reports mention these long, dark meadows, dense pine forests, snow-capped mountains in the background. You can see the comparison. The Pahalgam Development Authority highlights this resemblance too.
So a place people go specifically for peace and natural beauty.
Precisely. And it's important for trekkers, serves as a key campsite for those heading up to Tulian Lake. Offers amazing views, apparently, of Pahalgam itself and the Litter Valley.
Year-round appeal, too, summer and winter.
Yes, the scenery, the Litter River views, it attracts visitors consistently, which makes this attack seem even more calculated, perhaps.
Right. Let's turn to the group, then. The Resistance Front, TRF. The report says they emerged after August 2019.
Yes, right after the Article 370 changes. They popped up pretty quickly as an offshoot, specifically linked to Lashkar-e-Taiba.
And it wasn't just a name. They became active fast.
Very active. According to the Indian Express, they absorbed militants from other groups, especially Lefty cadres. They consolidated quickly.
And the Indian government took notice, officially.
Oh, yes. Declared a terrorist organization by the Ministry of Home Affairs under UAPA in January 2023.
UAPA, the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. And the reason given.
It specifically mentioned their use of social media for psychological operations. Things like trying to radicalize youth, incite people against the state online.
So kinetic attacks plus information warfare.
Dual approach, it seems. And their targets. The report lists several attacks in Kashmir attributed to them.
And worryingly, specifically targeting tourists, minority Kashmiri Pandits, and migrant laborers.
Yes, that pattern is quite clear. Targeting civilians, often those perceived as outsiders or symbols of integration with India.
Which brings us back to this Pahalgam attack, the significance. The Indian Express piece calls it the deadliest attack on civilians since 26/11.
That's a huge statement. It puts it in a very serious category, underscoring a massive internal security challenge and, as we said, with those external links.
Absolutely, because, after 2019, there was this narrative, supported by rising tourism numbers, that things were becoming more peaceful, more stable.
That narrative took a direct hit here. This attack shatters that image, brings back memories of past violence.
You mentioned earlier that increased tourism might make it a target. Was there any intel suggesting that?
The report doesn't explicitly state prior intelligence on this specific attack's link to tourism levels, but the pattern of targeting tourists by TRF was known. Increased visibility can, unfortunately, make any area a more attractive target for groups seeking impact.
All right, and the timing seems incredibly suspicious, too.
Highly suspicious. The Indian Express points out it happened right when U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance was visiting India and PM Modi was on a diplomatic trip to Saudi Arabia.
Not the first time we've seen this kind of timing, is it?
Sadly, no. There's a history here. The report draws parallels. March 2000, 36 Sikhs killed in Anantnag just before President Clinton's visit.
I remember that. Horrific.
And May 2002, the Kaluchak attack, killing 23 during U.S. official Christina Rocca's visit. It suggests a pattern, doesn't it? Using terror for international attention or disruption.
Definitely feels like trying to send a message on a global stage, undermining diplomatic efforts.
It forces the issue onto the international agenda, projects instability precisely when India is engaging internationally. You also asked about their social media reach.
Yes, the psychological ops.
Yeah.
How effective is it?
The report highlights the MAPA's concern leading to the UAPA designation, implying it was seen as a significant threat. Measuring precise effectiveness is hard, but the fact it was cited in the ban suggests authorities believed it was having a tangible impact on radicalization and incitement.
Understood. And adding another layer, the report connects this to recent rhetoric from Pakistan.
Yes, specifically mentioning the Pakistan Army Chief, General Asim Munir's statement calling Kashmir Pakistan's jugular vein, provocative language providing context, perhaps indicating the broader mood or stance.
Okay, so let's try to pull the threads together. We had this horrific attack, mass casualties, mainly tourists, in a supposedly peaceful valley.
We have the TRF and Let T proxy with likely external backing claiming responsibility, a group known for targeting civilians and using online propaganda.
And the timing, coinciding with major international visits, echoing past incidents, seems highly strategic, likely aimed at disrupting normalcy and gaining global attention.
Exactly. So for you, especially if you're preparing for UPSC, this isn't just one tragic event, it's a case study.
You need to analyze it from multiple angles, right? The internal security failures or challenges it highlights.
The impact on the perception of J&K, particularly post-Article 370, how tourism and security interact.
And the definite external dimension, the role of proxy groups, the timing related to diplomacy, the signaling involved.
It connects local security realities with broader geopolitical dynamics. Understanding that link is key.
So here's something to really think about, a question to mull over as you study this further. How might an attack like this, with its specific characteristics and timing, actually influence India's future security posture in the region, and perhaps its diplomatic strategy regarding Pakistan and Kashmir?
That's the kind of critical thinking required. Consider the potential policy shifts or security reassessments this might trigger.
We hope this deep dive has helped clarify the key aspects of this important and tragic event.
If you found it useful, please do consider liking this, subscribing for more analyses.
And definitely leave a comment if you have further questions or points you'd like to discuss. We do read them.
Just to reiterate, our discussion today was primarily informed by the detailed reporting from the Indian Express.
Thanks for tuning in and engaging with this critical issue.